Hey friends, it's Kelly. I am back with a new layout for Hip Kit Club, and I'm going to start today's process video with a Cricut Design Space tutorial. I already have a couple of the Hip Kit Club cut files on the design screen, and the cut file with the snowflakes was part of the 12 Days of Giving, and those cut files are still available on the Hip Kit Club website, which I will make sure to link to in the description below. If you were not aware, Hip Kit Club does have free cut files each month. You do have to be a registered user on the website, but you do not have to be a subscriber to the kits to have access to the freebie cut files. So just head over to the website. You just enter your email address. It's free. It's simple. Just enter your email address, create a password, and then you will have access to all of the free cut files. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening on the design screen. I have entered a few shapes and I am just slicing out the images on those cut files that I want to use. So I'm going to use 4 of the 3x4 cards and then 1 of the snowflakes. And I know I've shown you this before, but in order to separate the images from the cut file, you need to insert a shape, lay the shape on the part of the cut file that you're wanting to use, hold down the shift key, click on the shape and the cut file, go over to the layers tab and hit the slice button, and that will single out the image that you're wanting to use from the rest of the cut file. Once I have all of those images sliced out from the cut files, I'm going to go over to the set canvas button, which is on the left hand side. I'm going to click on it and then I'm going to scroll down until I see scrapbook layout. And then that will insert a 12 by 12 square onto the design screen. It's just a blocked out area on the screen. That way, when I go to size these cut file images, I know that they will fit onto my 12 by 12 scrapbook layout. I know I want to create a border on the left-hand side of the layout, so I'm going to drag those 3x4 cards over to the left-hand side and just arrange them in the order that I want them to be. Then I'm going to start to work on resizing them. I'm going to click on that padlock on the bottom left-hand side of the cut file image and just use the arrows on the bottom right-hand side to resize it. I'm just eyeballing it to a size that looks good. Once I have the size chosen, I'm going to go over to the Edit tab and enter the same measurement that I used for the first cut file image that I altered the size. I want all of these cut file images to be the same size. It's going to replicate or represent a photo strip on the left hand side, so I want to make sure that all of the shapes are even, so when I weld them together it looks cohesive and it looks like it was meant to be one solid image. Once I have them positioned the way that I like, I'm going to select all 4 of those images by holding down the shift key and then clicking on each image. Then I will go over to the layers tab and hit the weld button, and that will weld all of those images together to make it one solid image. Once they are welded together, I'm going to go to the Edit tab and enter the measurement of 11.5. I want this to run the whole length of the layout, so 11.5 is the largest size that you can cut in using Cricut Design Space, so I want to make sure that it's as large as it possibly can be. Now I want to alter this slightly. I want to remove the snowman and insert that snowflake. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. I just inserted a shape, laid it on top of the cut file image using the slice feature and removed the snowman. And how cute is that snowman? He would be cute all on his own on a layout. But I want to go ahead and get that snowflake in the place of the snowman. So I want to make sure that's a solid image. So to create a solid image, to remove the circle from the center of the snowflake, I just went over and used the contour button and then clicked on that circle in the center of the snowflake to turn it into a solid image. Now I'm just positioning it onto the cut file image, and then I will weld the snowflake in the place of the snowman. So again, I'll just hold down the shift key, click on the snowflake, click on the cut file image, and go over and hit the weld button. Once that is finished, I am happy with how that strip is looking. So I'm going to delete all of the extras that I have on the right hand side just by drawing a box around those images and then clicking the X at the top left hand side of the box. Now this layout is based off of one of the member forum sketches, and in the sketch there are 4 stars on the sketch. So I'm going to insert a star and then copy and paste it 3 more times, and then I'm just going to eyeball the size. I want to make them all just a little bit different size from each other, so I'm just using the design screen to make sure that they will all fit onto my 12 by 12 layout nicely. Once I have those sized the way that I want, I'm going to go over and click on the stars in the layer panel and then change the color of the star. Now the reason that I need to change the colors of the stars is because I want to cut the stars on a separate piece of paper from the border strip that I have on the left-hand side. Cricut Design Space recognizes the colors of the images on the screen as to what paper you want to use. So because all of the images are the same color, it's going to want to load them all on the same cutting mat. So by changing the color, it will allow me to insert a new cutting mat with a different piece of paper before it goes to cut the star images. Now I do want to cut all the stars on the same cutting mat with the same piece of paper. So I'm going to go over to the sync tab, and then I'm just going to drag all of those dark gray stars up to the column that has that teal color. This way I know all the stars are the same color and it will cut on the same cutting mat. So I'm happy with the size of everything. So I'm going to go ahead and click the go button, and then you'll be able to see what I mean by the images being on two separate cutting mats. You can see the border strip is on one mat and then the stars are on a completely separate mat, which means it'll allow me to cut on two different pieces of paper. All right, so let's move into the process video part of this video. So this is the photo that I'm going to be using today. It is a photo of Aiden standing in front of the tree when we were decorating this year. And I just love how the photo turned out, where the tree is so bright and he has a Santa hat on and he's just kind of peering at the tree. He was hanging an ornament, but I just thought he looked so cute and I absolutely adore the picture. So I knew I wanted to scrapbook it right away. So right now I'm just working on the layers behind my photo. I've added a layer of that teal cardstock from the cardstock kit, and then I've also added a piece of the packaging from one of the Snow and Cocoa collections that was included in the November kits. And everything that I'm using is from the November 2016 kits and the Documenting December kit. So this is the basis of what my layout's going to look like. I cut those stars out in white cardstock and then again in vellum, just for a little added interest and a little bit of dimension. You can see the cut file image that I've cut, and I cut that on one of the exclusive pattern papers, and I believe that pattern paper was included in the main kit. I do want to add a little bit of mixed media to this layout, so I'm just using a pencil to mark where my photo is going to sit on the layout, and then I'm going to come in with some clear gesso and apply a layer of that. I am going to be using quite a bit of liquid, so I want to make sure that the liquid has something to sit on and that it doesn't get totally absorbed into the paper. Once I have that on there and it is dry, I'm going to grab a piece of packaging and I'm going to use the Well Blue Me Down Shimmers Mist that is included in the color kit. Just spray it onto the packaging and then just start to smush the color onto the layout. And I'm using those pencil lines as a guide so I know where my photo will sit, so I know that the color is going to be noticeable and that I'm not going to cover it up completely with my photo when I do adhere my photo to the layout. Now I actually end up doing this mixed media twice. I am going to place my journaling in one of the squares in that border strip that I created, and I totally messed up the journaling. I didn't really plan out ahead of time what I wanted to say, and it didn't fit in the space that I needed, so I just decided to start over. So I just grabbed another piece of white cardstock and did the exact same technique again. I don't show you on camera, so if a little bit later in the video, if the mixed media looks slightly different than how it looks right now, it's because it is. I had to start over, but that happens. We make mistakes, and sometimes it's just easier to start over. Now I'm just making sure that everything is going to fit and that it's going to look okay with where the mixed media is placed. And I've jumped forward a little bit. My battery died on my camera, so I did a little bit of work off camera. I added a washi strip from the Pink Fresh Studio washi pack that we get in the Documenting December kit, added some silver stitching, and then I did some embellishing on that left-hand side in that border strip. So let's talk about the embellishing in that border strip. In the top square, I've added a couple of ephemera pieces from the Hip Kit Club exclusive ephemera pack that's included in the main kit. I also added a strip of washi that is exclusive to Hip Kit Club also, and that was included in the embellishment kit. The next square down, I have added a puffy snowflake sticker that is from the Pink Fresh Studio puffy sticker sheet that I believe is included in the Documenting December kit. The next square down, I have added that acetate snow globe piece that is included in the Snow and Cocoa ephemera pack, and that ephemera pack is included in the Documenting December kit. And then the last square, I added my typed journaling using my We Are Memory Keepers typecast typewriter. My title is Merry and Bright, and I use those beautiful silver sparkly thickers that are included in the embellishment kit. Now I am working on adding an embellishment cluster to the right-hand side of the photo. I'm going to add that cute little deer and then 3 Christmas trees, and all of those ephemera pieces are included in the Hip Kit Club exclusive ephemera pack that's included in the main kit. I did add those stars to the top of the layout. I don't know how well you can see them on the screen, but I did want them to be subtle. I didn't want them to distract from the photo or from the border strip that I have on the left-hand side of the layout. I do like the vellum. I feel like it adds just a little bit of definition without being too overbearing. I did also add a zigzag stitch through the center of each of those stars just to help give it a little bit more definition and to help it stand out just a little bit more. But again, I didn't want it to be too overbearing, so I'm really happy with how that turned out. Now I'm just coming in with some finishing touches. I did add a few of the phrase strips that are included in the Hip Kit Club exclusive ephemera pack from the main kit. Now I'm adding some sequins, and I'm going to add just a few clusterings of those. I'll add some to the right hand side of the layout, and then I'll add a few in that border strip on the left hand side of the layout. Once I have those sequins glued down, the layout is pretty much finished. I'm going to come in with my date stamp to add the date, but then that is going to wrap it up. I am going to leave you with some still shots. Be sure to head over to the Hip Kit Club Facebook forum to check out the sketch and to also check out the other design team girls' interpretations of the sketch. We'd love to see you over in the forum. Again, you do not have to be a subscriber to join us in the forum, so head over there. I'll have a link to it in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching.